Where you rank Puka?
Yeah, he got him in the top 5. This is what I hate
easy.
too. Hate when
He
it
ain't
comes
4 or
to
5.
But it's hard for the top players to always consistently be at the top.
Puka has been great since he got into the league. It's been more than 1 year, and Puka Nacua has not let us down.
I think Puka's the best wide receiver in the NFL right now, and it's not because he's the fastest or quickest or most athletic. It's just because he is a football player.
There's only 2 other Hall of Famers who are in this class that has done what Puka has done thus far, which is Randy Moss and the GOAT, Jerry Rice.
Last question for you is, do you think that any ball that comes your way is uncatchable?
Never. If it's coming to number 12, I'm going to find a way to come down with it.
In 2023, he broke rookie records that stood for decades. In 2024, he came back from injury and picked up right where he left off. And in 2025, he led the entire league in receptions with 129 catches and finished second in receiving yards with 1,715.
Stafford floats it. Nacua's the target! Oh! Puka Nacua!
Teams have had 3 years to figure him out. 3 years of film, 3 years of game planning, 3 years of trying every coverage scheme imaginable. And he's still cooking them. Here's the uncomfortable truth that NFL defensive coordinators don't want to admit. Puka Nacua might be unguardable, not because he's the fastest, not because he's the biggest, but because he does everything at an elite level, and nobody saw it coming.
Obviously, they got Puka Nacua, who's been going crazy. Most receptions of any wide receiver in NFL history through 4 weeks. And
a 5th-round pick out of BYU just became one of the most dominant receivers in football, and the league is still trying to figure out how they missed him. So how good is Puka actually? And why can't anyone stop him? Before we begin, let me know in the comments how good you think Puka really is, and in your opinion, is he a top 5 wide receiver in the league already? Let's start at the beginning, because Puka's story isn't about being handed anything, it's about earning everything.
You gotta stick through the hard things in life. You can't run away from problems. They'll come back to you.
Puka was born on May 29th, 2001 in Las Vegas, Nevada. But he grew up in Provo, Utah, in a household where football wasn't just a game, it was survival.
So all of us are in the backyard. Dad was in the back, we're doing Oklahoma drills in the dirt.
It was opportunity. It was everything. Puka comes from Polynesian roots. His mother Penina is Samoan. His late father Lionel was native Hawaiian, and they raised 6 kids in a home that lived and breathed sports.
Puka Nacua cultivated the seed planted by her husband, and Puka developed into one of the greatest athletes ever produced by the state of Utah.
But when Puka was just around 11 years old, his father passed away from diabetes complications. Suddenly, Penina was a single mother raising 6 children, and Puka lost the man who had trained him, pushed him, and taught him the game he loved.
When I lost my father, I was 11, getting ready to go, I think, into 6th grade. My whole world was spinning. It was like, I feel like somebody hugged me by my feet and like bounced me on my head 10 times. Like, all right, get up and try to run 50 yards now. And I was like, holy cow, like, didn't really know what was going on.
When his father passed, Puka's grandmother stepped in. She became another pillar of strength for the family. She helped raise Puka and his siblings. She showed them what resilience looked like, and she was even the one to give Puka his name.
My mother named Puka as a nickname for him.
What does Puka mean in Samoan?
In Samoa, my grandma Tom Lee had given me that name. That means fat, chubby. So that's why I think some of those run plays coaches like, man, I trust him with the ball.
And in September of 2021, just before Puka's breakout season at BYU, she passed away from ovarian cancer. 2 losses that shaped everything. Puka's older brothers, Kai and Samson, both played Division I football. They showed him the way. And Puka was determined to honor his father's memory, his grandmother's strength, and everyone who sacrificed for him by becoming the best player he could be.
All right, I know when I go out and put my helmet on and I strap up and I lock my shoulder pads in, I'm like, the stadium, and it says Nacua up there, and I'm like, man, like, he's up there watching over me. I'm like, man, I could go out here and like, I got to give it my all.
At Orem High School in Utah, Puka wasn't just good, he was generational.
Puka Nacua, Orem High School, Utah, class of 2019.
Over 4 years, he caught 260 passes for 5,226 yards and 58 touchdowns. As a senior, he put up 103 receptions, 2,336 yards, and 26 touchdowns, all Utah State records.
One of the most highly recruited high school athletes in the state, Puka Nacua, had a monster season.
It's absolutely crazy. This is a dream come true, I think, for every high school athlete to win a state championship. This is the greatest feeling.
He was named Utah Mr. Football. He played in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl and won Offensive Player of the Year. He dominated the Polynesian Bowl and won MVP. Puka was a 4-star recruit, the #1 player in Utah, the 8th best receiver in the country, and he committed to the University of Washington.
Where are you going to play your college football?
I will be attending the University of Washington.
Gonna be a Husky. Let's go.
But college didn't go the way anyone expected. At Washington in 2019, Puka's freshman season was cut short by a broken foot. He played 8 games, caught 7 passes, and showed flashes. But injuries derailed him. In 2020, the pandemic-shortened season, he played just 3 games, 9 catches, 151 yards, and then he entered the transfer portal. Puka transferred to BYU to be closer to home, to play with his brother Samson, and to prove he could stay healthy and produce.
Coming back to be home with family, for sure. Grandma was sick. Mom was going through a lot trying to help grandma, and me and Puka were talking while we were out there. It was like, dang, bro, we haven't played with each other in a long time, like since Pee Wee football, and it was perfect timing for everything.
And I love Seattle, and I learned a lot and grown a lot, and I got to see stuff that I feel like I wanted to see and I wouldn't see out here in Utah. But then I was like, I miss Utah. I miss being around my family. It's when I guess all my family's out here, my mom's cousins and stuff like that. So
in 2021, Puka led BYU with 43 receptions, 805 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He had 4 100-yard games. He averaged 18.7 yards per catch, and he reminded everyone why he was a top recruit. Then in 2022, injuries hit again. He played just 9 games, but even limited, he posted 48 catches, 625 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He also showed versatility, rushing for 209 yards and 4 touchdowns on jet sweeps. Over 2 seasons at BYU, Puka had 91 receptions, 1,430 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Solid numbers, but nothing that screamed future NFL star. And that's why the NFL missed him. In the 2023 NFL Draft, Puka went in the 5th round, 177th overall, the 20th wide receiver taken.
Hey Puka.
Hello?
You doing all right?
Doing good. Life is good.
Well, here's what I want to say. What if we draft you with the 43rd pick here in the 5th round? That make your day a little better?
That would make my day great.
The Los Angeles Rams drafted him, and most people didn't think twice about it. A 5th-round receiver with an injury history? He'd be lucky to make the roster. But the Rams saw something different. They saw a player with size, hands, and toughness. They saw a receiver who could play through contact and win contested catches. And they gave him a shot. By week 1 of the 2023 season, Puka was a starter. And what happened next was pure insanity.
You know, he's a special player. He's a special person on our team. You know, his game comes to life on Sundays. You know, he's out there in practice, and you know he's working, he's doing all the stuff, he's making plays and all that. But when it becomes tackle football, is when Puka Nacua's game comes to life.
In his NFL debut against Seattle, Puka caught 10 passes for 119 yards. A great start, but nothing compared to what came next. In week 2, he exploded for 15 receptions and 147 yards, an NFL record for catches in a game by a rookie. Over his first 2 games, he had 25 receptions, another NFL record. He became the first player ever to have 10+ catches and 100+ yards in each of his first 2 NFL games, and defenses had no idea how to stop him.
There's that quick hit and run, that completion, and there's Puka Nacua with the catch. No one has had more catches in the first 2 games of their NFL career than Puka Nacua.
In week 4, Puka scored his first career touchdown, a 22-yard game winner in overtime against Indianapolis. Part of a 163-yard day, he kept going. 154 yards in week 7, a 70-yard touchdown in week 13, 164 yards and a touchdown on Thursday Night Football in week 16. By the end of the season, Puka had 105 receptions, 1,486 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He broke the NFL rookie records for catches and receiving yards, records that had stood for decades.
Puka Nacua, one of the great rookie seasons by a receiver in NFL history. He's got the catch record and the yards record.
He made the Pro Bowl. He was named second-team All-Pro as a rookie. And in the wildcard playoff game, he caught 9 passes for 181 yards and a touchdown, an NFL record for receiving yards by a rookie in a playoff game. Puka didn't just have a good rookie season, he had one of the greatest rookie seasons in NFL history.
I think he started to get real consistent. He started off the first season like with Seattle, and he had a good ass game. He's tough. He was playing tough, breaking tackles. It was just, you know, he's a football player. You know, that's that type of player you want on your team. A tough guy that, you know, that play hard, that play tough. You usually see young guys that play and, you know, they fall off a little bit, but like for him to stay as poised as he did through the whole season, as far as like if he stay like that and he stay hungry and if he want to be great, in my opinion, I think he can do some things that never been done in this league. But he just got to keep working.
Now here's where it gets interesting, because after that 2023 season, every team in the league had film on Puka. They knew his roots, they knew his tendencies, they knew how the Rams used him, and they still couldn't stop him. In 2024, Puka dealt with injuries again, a knee issue in the preseason, a PCL sprain in week 1 that kept him out 5 games.
Visibly upset on the sidelines, and you can see him there. He was carted into the locker room.
But when he came back in week 8, he posted 106 yards immediately.
Ooh, I think the classic saying is, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger.
Over 11 games in 2024, Puka had 79 receptions, 990 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He just missed 1,000 yards because the Rams sat him in the finale. But the performance that stood out came in December against Buffalo. Puka caught 12 passes for 162 yards and a touchdown, and he rushed for another touchdown. The first player in Rams history to have 150-plus receiving yards with both a receiving and rushing touchdown in the same game. Even with the injuries, Puka was still one of the most productive receivers in football. And entering 2025, the question wasn't if he'd bounce back, it was how dominant he'd be. And the answer? More dominant than ever. In 2025, Puka proved he's not just a good receiver, he's elite. He started the season on fire. In September, he led the entire NFL with 42 receptions and 503 yards. In week 4, he caught 13 passes for 170 yards and won NFC Offensive Player of the Week. He dealt with a minor ankle sprain in week 6 that cost him 1 game, but when he came back, he didn't miss a beat. In week 14, he torched Arizona for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns, another NFC Offensive Player of the Week award. The next week, he had 181 yards against Detroit. Then in week 16, Puka had a career game, 12 receptions, 225 yards, and 2 touchdowns in an overtime shootout against Seattle. By the end of the season, Puka had 129 receptions, 1,715 yards, and 10 touchdowns. He led the entire NFL in receptions. He finished second in the league in receiving yards. Teams have had 3 years to figure him out, and he just keeps getting better. So here's the real question: why can't anyone stop Puka? Let's break it down, because Puka doesn't dominate with just one skill, he dominates with all of them. His route running is crisp, Puka sells his breaks perfectly, he creates separation at the top of his routes, and he understands leverage better than most veterans. Defenders can't jump his routes because he doesn't telegraph them. Then there's his hands. Puka catches everything: contested catches, over-the-shoulder grabs, tight window throws. He has some of the most reliable hands in the NFL. If the ball is near him, he's bringing it down. The physicality stands out too. At 6'2", 205 pounds, Puka plays bigger than his size. He wins at the catch point, he fights through contact, and he runs through arm tackles. Defensive backs can't muscle him off routes. But yards after catch is where Puka really separates himself. He doesn't just catch the ball and fall down, he breaks tackles, he finds seams, he turns 5-yard catches into 15-yard gains, and his football IQ is elite. Puka reads defenses at a high level. He finds soft spots in zone coverage, he adjusts his routes on the fly, and he's always on the same page with his quarterback. That combination is what makes him unguardable. You can't press him because he's too strong. You can't play off because he'll eat up the underneath. You can't double him because Cooper Kupp and the Rams' other weapons will kill you. And here's the scariest part: Puka is still just 23 years old. He's entering his prime, and he's already one of the best receivers in football. Now let's talk about the bigger picture, because this isn't just a problem for defenses trying to stop him, it's a problem for the way the entire NFL evaluates talent. Think about this. 19 wide receivers got drafted before Puka. Teams passed on him 4 complete rounds. Why? Because they focused on the wrong things. They saw the injuries. They saw the BYU tape and didn't think it would translate. They saw a guy who wasn't a blazing 4.3 speed guy. What they missed was the toughness, the hands, the football IQ, the ability to win at every level of the field. This is proof that the NFL draft is still a guessing game, and sometimes the best players aren't the ones with the flashiest measurables. They're the ones with the intangibles you can't measure. The numbers tell the story. Through 3 NFL seasons, Puka has 313 receptions, 4,191 yards, and 19 touchdowns. He's tied for the fastest player ever to reach 4,000 receiving yards, 42 games, same as Lance Alworth, Justin Jefferson, and Odell Beckham Jr. He's the fastest player ever to 300 receptions, 43 games. Through 40 career games, he had more catches than any player in NFL history over that span. This isn't just a great start to a career, he's on pace to be one of the greatest receivers of his generation. And here's what makes it even more impressive. Puka has done all of this while honoring his family. He wears cleats supporting the American Diabetes Association to honor his father. He supports Single Moms Planet to honor his mother. Football is personal for Puka. It's about representing his family, his heritage, and everyone who believed in him when the NFL didn't. So is this a problem for the NFL? Absolutely. Defenses can't stop him. Teams who passed on him are kicking themselves. And anyone who thinks you need to be a first-round pick to be great just got proven wrong. But for the Rams, this is the solution. Puka is the centerpiece of their offense. He's the guy they can build around for the next decade, and he's proof that if you find the right player in the right system, draft position doesn't matter. The debate is open. Where does Puka Nacua rank among the best young receivers in the NFL? Is he already a top 5 receiver, top 10, and how high can his ceiling go? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the Football Explained for more breakdowns like this. We'll see you in the next one.